Is anyone here being bombarded with questions or suffocated with hugs by a little girl? Is this little girl sucking her thumb? Or does this little girl have two long braids coming out of the sides of her head that look like handlebars? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Genesis has most likely decided to make you her new best friend. Hey Jen, do you remember when you came to live with us 6 years ago? Of course you don't. You were only 2 months old. Just a little tiny baby. It's crazy to think that Genesis came to live with us 6 years ago, back in 2019, and just last month, we celebrated her 6th birthday. Genesis is definitely the smartest 6-year-old I know, and I know a lot of really smart 6-year-olds. I can remember the day we got Jen, even though I wasn't there. My mom and sisters and brother and I were all out of town visiting family, and just my dad was home. And he got the call to take Genesis, and he didn't really ask us or let us know, but to share this announcement with us, he just took a picture of her laying down in his lap, smiling up at him. And that was the first picture I ever saw of Genesis, and I can visualize it like I'm holding it in my hands right now. That was the first picture I ever saw of Genesis, and as soon as I saw it, I feel like I fell in love with her a little bit. Since we were out of town and I couldn't meet you, Jen, I just wanted to go home and meet you. But the weekend seemed to last an eternity. Finally, we left our cousin's house, and I was finally able to get to meet you. Knowing you were at home made the weekend seem really long, but the moments I walked inside to see you was one of the most exciting days of my life. I used to be able to just scoop you up and carry you around with me as I went about my day. Now, I can't do that anymore, and you don't really like hanging out with me as much. So what if we're 15 years apart? But Jen, even though we don't spend as much time together, you have grown up to be such a beautiful, smart little girl. I can't wait to see what God has for you, and you never fail to make me laugh, and you have such a kind heart. Well, you most of the time have a very kind heart, but do you remember that time when you and Anaya were playing and you decided to smash Anaya's pinky in the door and her pinky almost fell off? Dad had to take her to the ER for 6 hours and wait all day to try to get her pinky fixed. So you must have not been feeling very kind that day. But all jokes aside, Genesis, I hope you know how loved you are in this family, and we can't wait to adopt you. I love you so much, Jen.